There's no longer a real reason to get excited every time a new smartphone comes out. I mean, the things in our pockets already can do more than we could ever dream of. Sort of like SRAM Eagle. It's so good that we've gotten by for a few solid years now without even missing Shimano. Nearly every bike we tested here in Southwest Utah had an Eagle drivetrain. I mean, what could be that good about how the new XTR shifts?
It's really fast, it's really quiet, it happens with any amount of load on the drivetrains. Like, I was really trying to get this thing to skip a beat, and I could not get it to do so. Up these crazy ledgy climbs and just like emergency shifting, it would do it. It would make the shift and it wouldn't like complain about it. Like, SRAM will make these big pingy poppy sounds when you get it into situations like that, and this was like quiet and quick and precise.
Which has always sort of been the XTR hallmark, right? Where you want this light, quiet shift action that is precise and clean. And so now you can grab 4 cogs at once going into the easier gears. You can dump them 2 at a time going into the harder gears, and it's this fast, very just precise. You don't have to be thumb to thumb, you can be thumb and finger. And on underload, I was like grabbing 2, sometimes 3 cogs in an attempt to just dumb shift it, like standing up into a rock face and shifting, things I would never consciously do. And it would just tip, tip, tip.
It sounds like it's like, yeah, like this is what we're designed to do. Like it's made for it.
Yeah, it's a pleasing sound. You're like, oh, I've just made a good shift. Instead of like, oh, sorry, drivetrain.
Yeah, and I think there's a spectrum of that. I mean, when I was really in the wrong gear on those shelfy hits, it wasn't happy about it. It would do it. It was more those like, I'm on the gas, I've got business to take care of, and I'm gonna shift. And it was just absolutely lovely.
Yeah, and that's the difference of like, you know, for people who are in a hurry, that's the difference of like not having to let up on the gas at all, or having to for a slight moment, you know?
So let's talk about how they get there. This is an entirely new system for them. It's not compatible with any current XTR, XT, or any other Shimano drivetrain. It's an entirely new chain. The chamfers and the side plate design doesn't work with anything else that they've got going at the moment. And they're now doing their own version of what would have been a narrow wide chain ring. They're calling it plus minus, but same thing. You've got a clutch derailleur, you've got profiled teeth on your chain ring, you've got these shift ramps engineered into your cassette, all designed so that it has, you know, incredible chain retention and silent operation, and the shifting performance that we've been talking about.
So it's a brand new free hub body design, and they couldn't actually go with the SRAM XD. I think they're probably gonna get a lot of crap for having a new standard on the market, but like they couldn't use the SRAM XD due to patent reasons.
Right.
So it just wasn't available to them. So they were, you know, they had to create their own design, and it's going to trickle down over the years and become standard. So I mean, you can complain about it, but it's progress, right?
Right.
So it shifts really, really well. We were surprised, but we probably shouldn't be. Shimano has a way of making all of its things play really nice together. Like its predecessors, the new XTR works as a system, and not just to help you go, but to help you stop.
I mean, it's definitely the most powerful XTR brake we've seen to date, right?
Yeah, 4-piston brake. I was really impressed with both feel and performance of it.
And the power is really low on the list of why I like that new clamp design, because 4-piston Shimano brakes have never been short on power, and it never takes too much effort to get there. It's just, you get that little extra bit of direct control of that extra power that you get with 4-piston Shimano brakes.
Yeah, it's and they've redone the lever blade a little bit. It's a little bit wider, so underneath your finger it actually kind of does feel more solid too.
It's almost like if you like the meatier feel of a code brake, and you like the quick power onset of a Shimano brake, it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you know, the performance-wise, very impressed with the brakes. But my same gripe about the rattling pads, it's still there. And it actually was intensified by the fact that the drivetrain is quieter than it's ever been. The hub is completely silent. And all I'm hearing as I'm going down the trail is these rattling thin brake pads.
Again, you've been talking about this for how many years now?
A while.
I have never really noticed it.
Yeah.
And I didn't riding this. I went on a couple hours of just ledgy, rocky, rattly riding, and I didn't really hear it.
Yeah, I noticed it, and I didn't notice it until you started harping on it this ride. And I love those brake pads. Like, I'm a heavy guy, and there are some long, steep trails that at a certain point, my brakes will just stop working. And when those fin pads first came out, I would get an extra 10-15% down that trail before that started happening. So I was like, oh, this is great. And then you threw a wet blanket on my parade. Like, it was pretty rough.
It's crazy. I mean, I really do respect Shimano for going the extra distance as far as like heat dissipation is concerned. Like, they push that envelope more than anybody else does. I feel like they do more research and development on that with the fin pads and with the rotors and the different materials they use with the rotors. All the stuff they do, I think is great. But I wish they could just get rid of that rattling.
Well, you can always put a non-fin pad in here.
Yeah, and you'll get, I don't know what the reduction in, heat dissipation is if you go with a normal pad. But if you are like me and now Travis, and you can't stand that rattling, you have an option to go for a non-fin pad.
The sheer quality of appearance and aesthetic feel of every piece of this group is just, it's beautiful. It looks like a top-end group.
Yeah, it really does. And one of my peeves is these boots that they put on cranks nowadays, on carbon cranks. And with aluminum cranks, you don't need those stupid boots. Just run them as they're designed.
And this is one of the reasons why Shimano has taken so long to come up with this, is that it needs to be consistent with their brand philosophy. And that's the metal forging, that's their Shimano total integration, and that goes back to the free hub cassette relationship, the cassette chain relationship. I mean, this is on message with Shimano through and through.
Yeah.
And as much as you may want to bag on system approaches, which is what Shimano does, they design an entire system to work with itself. When they execute it properly, as a system, it works so well.
Yeah, I think that SRAM should be pretty scared right now.
I think we should remember that this isn't intended to be the silver bullet that's going to take SRAM down. This is a first step towards it. I think that when XT 1x12 happens, then the ground's going to start to shake.
Yeah, and when it trickles to SLX.
Yeah, I can't wait.
But for now, we'll just have to lust after the pewter prize that is the new XTR. It really is a masterpiece, one that reflects the time Shimano took to produce it. And it might take a while longer for the drivetrain market to reach any sort of equilibrium, but when it does, the bar will have been raised. We've got our full review and the rest of the Bible of Bike Test videos at bikemag.com.